Okay, so yo, what is going on? I, this is crazy. Why am I not coming up on camera? I don't know. What's up, y'all? So, as you can see, we are troubleshooting some stuff, getting things ready for the open house that we have this coming up this weekend. Why does it say we are playing Overwatch 2 when we are not? See, this is the, and we'll actually get into what we're. Braylon, how you doing? Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Just give me 1 second because I'm trying to figure out why it's saying we're playing Overwatch 2 when I set it to just chatting. But I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the issue was a second ago. I think because I was on a video call a second ago and maybe the camera didn't turn over. But thank you for tuning in. I see you are watching from LinkedIn, so that's good to know that the LinkedIn stuff is working right now. How's your week going? Switch this. See if it will take now. Okay, so all right, don't want to keep things too silent. So, like I said before, we are live at the Alpha Esports Technology Center, um, getting some stuff done. I haven't been I haven't been streaming at our regular time for a little while because we've had so many things going on with getting ready for summer camps and having so many different. We've had hold on. Yeah, so like I said, we trying to get things ready for summer camps and some other projects that we're working on. We've done a few cool things that I can't wait to share with everyone um this weekend and then leading into the summer. Um Heading from Atlanta to Louisiana to see. Okay, congratulations to her, man. That's awesome. It's that time of year. I know. I got some of my gamers graduating. I got my own kids moving on up. So like I said, it's definitely some exciting times. We got, summer. So we just had prom last weekend for my daughter. Um, it's cool to see. It's definitely cool to see everybody doing so well and moving on to that next phase in their life and things like that. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to you for her. And best of luck. So yeah, like I said, so man, we've been working crazy. Like I said, I really want to get back to our regular programs with the AppSec rabbit hole and the other stuff we've been doing. We've been doing our weekend streams. So we've been doing our Overwatch streams and our Fortnite team. We should be back in the mix this Saturday. We were invited to a second tournament. So for those who are unfamiliar, we do esports gaming, tech, STEM, um, and we do it in organized, healthy way so that the kids are learning the transferable skills and the parallels and the different career pathways and getting something out of gaming outside of just killing time. And for those who want to compete, because it is a viable option now, especially in the state of Georgia. We provide pathways for that as well, whether it's through their high schools or their colleges, or even if they want to play on professional teams or play at a higher level. In fact, two of our Overwatch players just scored some tryouts for a professional Overwatch team. So fingers crossed for them. I'm actually really confident. I'm gonna put it in the universe that they're both gonna do very well. It is the winning season, Braylon, man. Look, honestly, you gotta take the victories, man. I don't want to get on a soapbox too early. I don't know if you've seen some of my rants before, but I don't want to get on my soapbox. But in these days and times, you want to make sure you cherish all the victories, small and large. And I'm speaking from experience, man. I'm speaking from a place where I'm struggling to do that now. I didn't do that. I took it. Not that I took it for granted, but I probably, there were a lot of things that I was able to accomplish that, um, while others admired it or congratulated me, I was never satisfied, and it created a. I'm just gonna come out and say it, just like a toxic cycle for me, um, where I looked at everything in the eyes of like, yeah, that's great, but you can be better. So now, as a husband and as a father, and seeing my kids go through their own winning seasons, I'm definitely more cognizant of that and making sure that they cherish those victories. Hey, what's going on, Claire? How you doing? How's your week going? So, internship is going well. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. You're gonna have to, at some point, we're gonna have to sit down and talk about some of the things that you've learned and figure out how we can get some of those talents to help us out. Um, so what I'm gonna do today. So what I've been doing these I call them my accountability streams. So if you notice, you'll see some streams that says hanging out. Um, and what we're doing is working through some of the downtimes, right? Like we just wrapped up a practice, and I got a little bit of downtime my next uh before my next thing later, well, tomorrow. So I wanted to get some stuff done before we close. This is my first time catching you live. Don't know how your content fell into my lap, but one day if I would have been keeping up. Hey man, look, you know what? I'm in the tech cyber. Oh yeah, Braylon. So that is my day job, and this is I guess you'll call it my passion, right? So if you followed me before because of the tech cyberspace, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the fact that you're here while I'm on this next journey. I am still in the tech and cyberspace, but I'd say now for a few years I've been trying to find new ways to um, engage engage younger audiences or engage other people and find ways to help them find their passions or help them lead them into careers in tech, STEM, and cybersecurity. And I found that gaming is a great pathway. I mean, gaming and all things geek culture is what got me to love tech and cybersecurity. Um, I think if you've heard my story before, I got into gaming, or I started getting into like the tech side of things because of a video game. It was a Dragon Ball Z video game. So that's how I got into tech originally. And even with all of that, didn't know that it could actually lead to something, and I never pursued it until after I got out of the service. So that's how we. That's the gist of the story right there. Um, but yeah, like I said, man, I appreciate. Like I said, yeah, that's definitely how you got me here. Especially if you've seen like us on LinkedIn, you've probably seen my LinkedIn learning course. If you're in the application security space, you've seen my API security course. You've probably seen some of my ethical hacking videos or presentations. So now I'm just bringing that knowledge into a space to kind of get other folks either interested in it or show them that gaming is way beyond everything that we were told when growing up about it being a waste of time, and actually showing the parallels or teaching certain things. So, for example, there's a game that we play occasionally that teaches you Linux and cybersecurity basics and and ethical hacking basics. We've taught coding with building bots in Rocket League. We've taught physics with Rocket League. Jeez. Um, we're teaching AI and prompt engineering by making comic books and stuff like that. And I think I may have blabbed a little too much, but you'll see the project when it's ready to come out. If you signed up for if you signed up for our newsletter, you'll probably see we did a preview of one of the comic books that we've been working on with one of our mentor groups. That's the other thing too. We also offer a lot of mentoring programs and stuff as well for kids who might are in underserved situations and trying to help them find pathways as well. So one of the reasons, hey, well, I appreciate it, Braylon. Like I said, I appreciate the support. Sometimes you do stuff and it's like, oh well, we came here because of tech. We don't want to hear anything else, and it's almost it reminds me of like the whole shut up and dribble thing where it's like you're only here to do one thing. And not for nothing, like I said, if it wasn't for my love of gaming and helping the community, I probably wouldn't be doing any of this. Shout out to Rocket. Man, look, Rocket League, a lot of people sleep on Rocket League, and it's I enjoy it. I'm not I don't know. Uh I have to get back into it. You would think owning a gaming center, you would actually get to play a little bit more. That's not the case. I think I play less now than when I was actually like in the grind of getting all the IT and cybersecurity certifications. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually, you'll see I'm streaming. What's up, old man? I have no idea who that is, but the fact that you're calling me old man is hilarious. Um, but what's going on, man? I'm doing just fine. How are you? How's your week going? Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna hold you, man. I am getting up there, man. But you know what? It's a blessing considering I do, man. Oh, so I've had gray hair and white hair since I was like 5, dude. So this is nothing. Like I had my first gray hair when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and the funny thing is, my older brother, anyone who got white hair is old. Well, like I said, I've been old since I was young. But shout out to my older brother. Today is actually his birthday. But when I grew my first one, because my dad had white hair. So when I grew mine, someone said, "Is it from the sadness?" I wouldn't know. It's not from the sadness at all. I mean, there probably is some that's from stress and some stuff. But you know what? Hey, thank you, Claire. But yeah, like I said, it when I grew the first one, they were like, "Hey, if you pull, the moment that if you pull that one out, two more will grow in its spot." And my brother was like, "Let's find out," and that's what he did. What's the current project I'm working on? Where am I? I'm in Georgia. The current project I'm working on, Braylon, depends. So for cybersecurity, I'm working on. I'm in the AppSec space, so I'm doing a lot with API security, and it's definitely from sadness. Hey, look, you know what? Happily married, father, brother, son. Hey, look, I'm here though. So, it could be worse. But yeah, Braylon, like I was saying, so yeah, we're doing some AppSec stuff. I'm actually building out a program for young folks to get into um to learn the basics of tech and cybersecurity. So taking, the basics of A plus, Network plus, and Security plus, and condensing it into something that's a little bit easier to digest for teens and young adults, so that they have that foundational stuff. And then if they want to go further, then we get into like the CompTIA and ISE squared stuff. So building out that content From the gaming side. So the gaming side, like I said, we have our open house coming up on Saturday. So we're just kind of getting everything ready. Claire, you got a haircut. Okay, I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to see it. I'm gonna have to see it on Saturday, Claire. But I'm sure it looks nice. But on the gaming side, I'm working on building this stuff up for the open house. So the open house, we are going to be showcasing some of the projects we'll be working on is for our STEM summer camps. So we're doing some summer and gaming camps. Um, every week is going to be a different STEM project during the day, and then in the afternoon, it's we'll be doing some gaming. So we have that project. We'll be showing a few other things that we'll be doing as well. Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is it is a complicated field, but I think that's the beauty of what we do is we try to I call it demystify it, right? So a lot of people look at cybersecurity and think it's this super complicated thing. You know, they see it on the TV and the movies, and it's like, oh, they make it seem like it's a lot harder than what it really is. And what we do is we teach the foundational stuff that you should know before jumping into it. Because if you look on social media or you look in other places, people just try to jump right into cybersecurity, and it's like jumping into the deep end if you don't know how to swim. Cybersecurity is definitely not considered entry level. You should have a foundational knowledge before you start taking on cybersecurity. Like especially like I do ethical hacking, so you can't hack a system if you don't know how it works, right? So you have to learn that. You have to have that understanding first. You have to understand how operating systems work, how networking works before you figure out before you learn how to manipulate it. I'm on the Network Plus path, and now with CompTIA is the open house. Yeah, the open house is open to all ages, Braylon. So if you're in the area, man, stop by. But yeah, we're like I said, we're going to be showing that stuff. In my country, they don't really teach; they just give grades and degrees. I mean, if you're going to college for it, I'm pretty sure there's some foundational stuff. But that's the other misconception is that you have to go to college for it. Like you don't have to, right? You don't have to go to college. And I'm not saying it because it's like a hot take. I'm saying it because I didn't go to college. I didn't go to college to learn it. A lot of this was self-taught. A lot of it, like I said before, a lot of this I already found. What I found out is I have a lot of the skills already, but I didn't know that because I just looked at it as, oh, I knew how to mod video game systems, or I knew how to circumvent certain things, right? But I didn't know that would translate well into a career in tech. So I'm basically taking all the mistakes that I've learned throughout my life and basically sharing that so that the next person won't have to worry about that. Where did I learn it? Whew. So like I was saying, like I mentioned earlier, like I said, my first, I guess if you said my first real hack, it was a Sega Saturn system back in 1990s, 1999, 99, 2000. So yes, I am old, but like I said, that was my first real hack. But then even then, I still didn't know. I didn't know. I went to the military because I felt like I didn't have any other, I didn't have anything else going for me. And then I went to the military and I was an aircraft mechanic. And then I came out of the military and couldn't find a job as an aircraft mechanic because I was an aircraft mechanic on a fighter jet, and then eventually became an aircraft mechanic on the stealth. So for one, I couldn't work on fighter jets in the civilian world. And two, I can't talk about what I did as a stealth mechanic. So I couldn't find work. And I started doing I tried my hand at a trade. I did electrical for a little bit. Um, and then did some research and came across tech. So, all right, Claire, take care. Talk about the jump. I just have the comprehension and we want to learn. Yeah, man, like I did, I, when I started figuring out tech, what I ended up doing was I was working at Circuit City. I was their home theater install guy, and then I took a job on their PC repair bench, and that's how I learned like the inner workings of a computer, like the components and stuff like that. And that's when I got my that's around the time I got my A+ certification. Then after I got my A+ certification, I did my Network Plus certification, and then after that, I did the Security Plus. I actually did Security Plus a couple times, and I'm actually going to take it a third time, just so that I can have the certification because I'm teaching it. But yeah, that's how I did that. And then I started working like help desk jobs and network support jobs, and that's when I started coming across cybersecurity. And I was on the defensive side first, so learning how to secure devices and systems using mobile device managers and how to set up secure group policy objects in Active Directory and stuff. And once I got there, that's when I transitioned over to ethical hacking. There are people with I wouldn't say 5 or 6 year old, 5 or 6. I mean, you have some kids that are child prodigies. Like I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a kid as young as 6. I've seen one of my mentees was 12. And it's not that they don't. It's not that they can't because the crazy part is if they do anything, if they tinker now, they probably can. But it's the comprehension and understanding of what's going on or what certain tools are doing, right? Like I always tinkered with stuff when I was younger. I used to take stuff apart at my grandmother's house, put it back together, or pull components from one thing and pull from the other. Like I remember my grandmother used to have the giant floor model TV. The tube blew out, so there was no video, but the speakers worked, and then she got a brand new TV that she sat on top of it. And what I tried to do was get the speakers from that TV to work on the new TV. So having the technical hands-on stuff, yeah, they can probably understand that, but to understand like the components, things that are going on, I don't want to say that it's not real. I'm just saying that they would have to be really, really talented to understand the inner workings of what's going on, especially when you start getting into hacking systems internally, right? It's easier. I mean, hacking systems internally is harder than hacking like a website. Like websites and people are the easiest things to hack, right? Unfortunately. Comprehension is the biggest key. It's like once you get the concept, yeah, that's the part, Braylon, that people struggle with a lot is you can't learn that comprehension without actually like doing the work, right? So whether it's getting the hands-on, knowledge if you're doing pen testing, right? I tell my mentees when I'm teaching them pen testing or ethical hacking, it's great to understand what tools you're using in what scenario, but understand why you're using it and what's happening, right? It's great to say, oh yeah, I'm running an Nmap scan to see what ports are open, but why are you running that specific scan? Why are you running that specific flag? What is it telling you? What are the responses, right? You need to understand those things, right? Networking, you're talking about Network Plus. It's one thing to understand how what the concept of networking is. It's another to understand the different concept, the different parts of the three-way handshake of TCP, right? Or the difference between TCP and UDP, or understand the different ports and what the default services are on different ports. Those are different things that you should have that understanding of. Unfortunately, too many people they look at what they see online, and they figure, oh, I'm just going to jump into this job because someone told me I can get a 6-figure job in 6 months, and I'm just going to grab this certification, and I'm studying a brain dump and not actually understanding or comprehending what I'm reading. I'm just reading to pass this test. And now when it comes time for you to apply that knowledge, you can't. And honestly, you screw yourself up more doing that than if you just took the time to to better understand what you were doing. Oh yeah, no problem. So hold on, Braylon. Yeah, if yeah, shoot me a message. Like I said, I'm gonna be here pretty much all day Saturday. So we have the open house from 1 to 4, and then my Fortnite team is actually competing in a tournament at 4 o'clock. So I'm here. So man, listen, I can tell you some story, and if you're on Twitter, I'm pretty sure you already know the horror stories of infosec Twitter, or infosec as they want to call it now. But I remember during the pandemic when companies were hiring like crazy, right? They had all this money to to spend on salaries because they were getting help, they were getting assistance, so they weren't paying the full salaries. The government or whoever was paying part of the salaries. So because of that, they were paying top dollar. Like, I mean, there are people making 250, $300,000 for jobs that a few years before they probably were making 125, right? But the thing was, people weren't looking to leave their jobs because of the uncertainty, so they had to make it worth their while. So they were throwing money at a lot of people, and then what happened was people were taking advantage of it, and they were getting these jobs and weren't really qualified for the jobs, right? Because there were a lot of scams going on. Why do I think? See, you about to get me going on my soapbox. But that actually will go into this story that I'm telling right now. So people were getting these jobs, and they weren't really qualified for them, but they were getting the money. And I remember we did like a Twitter space. It was a few of us. We were doing a space, and we were telling people, hey, look, if you slipped under the radar, congratulations, but take the next 6 months to really understand what's going on. But not only understand the basics, not only understand the whatever is going on for your job, understand what they need in the next, for the next promotion. And man, I was called all type of hater and gatekeeper and stuff. And all I was telling people was, listen, this is not going to be sustainable. These salaries aren't going to be sustainable. We all know what else was happening during the pandemic around the same time. There were protests and things like that, and companies were jumping on, I'll say, jumping on the trend to give people opportunities, right? Because again, they were also getting incentivized for that. And then around 20, we're in 2025 now. So around 2023, all of those incentives, all those incentives started going away. So the companies weren't getting help with the salaries anymore. Um, the protests have stopped, and the things that they said they wanted to fix. And I'm being very careful with my words, But the things that they said they wanted to fix, what you see, what they're getting rid of today, the things that they're getting rid of now, it it was no longer trendy. So now they started laying people off, and then the economy started tanking. So now companies are in the business of being profitable, and not only being profitable, but so not only being profitable, but they needed to show record profits, right? They needed to show to their investors that, oh yeah, not only were we profitable, we made so many millions or billions of dollars. So now you have so now companies are laying off people to get rid of their overhead. Fastest way to do it is get rid of some of these high paying salaries, especially when the government was already um, saying, "Hey, we're no longer going to help you pay these salaries." So now you have companies paying people they're on the hook now for $200,000 salaries, $250,000 salaries, and not only were they not wanting to pay it, the person, a lot of those people weren't qualified. So you got a bunch of those people got laid off, and then you had some people who got laid off that were qualified, but again, they commanded a higher salary and they needed to balance their budgets. So now companies started downsizing, and you see, I haven't even gotten to AI yet. So now you have companies, they don't want to be on the hook for these big salaries anymore. The government's no longer helping with the COVID relief. The protesting and DEI and all the pandering stopped. It's no longer trendy. So now that that's quiet down and they don't have to worry about people protesting them, because everybody has the attention span of a TikTok video these days. So now so now it went away. So now they can go, okay, we can gut these programs, or we can let go of these people. And then you have people who honestly probably weren't qualified to be in there. So you got those three things. Then you get AI, right? And what happened with AI is it's not that AI came and took everybody's jobs. AI did take some low-level jobs, right? So some level one help desk, some stuff, they can make an AI chatbot to help with that. AI didn't take the jobs. But what ended up happening was these tech companies that were investing in things like the cloud started looking at how much money AI was bringing in, right? They're looking at the Nvidia stock, what Nvidia is doing. They're looking at what AMD is doing. They're looking at what Microsoft basically partnering with OpenAI and being like 50-50 partners. They already know what China was starting to do with AI. So now they need to get on the trend. So now they reallocated the money that they had in the budget for cloud and cybersecurity and stuff like that and started throwing it at AI. So that's why I tell people now, it's not AI that's going to take the job. It's the person who knows how to work with it, right? It's the person who can prompt engineer, because that's the new catchphrase. It's the person who can prompt engineer and talk to AI, or build a private large language model for the company internally, and then be able to talk to that LLM to get the most desired outcome or most desired output. That's what's happening right now. So now people they're diverting all of their funds and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that AI is not taking some jobs, but it's not taking all the jobs that people are saying. And that's why I tell people now, don't completely shun AI, right? AI has a lot of issues. They have a lot of bias issues. AI is not perfect. And there aren't enough people from different backgrounds working with behind the scenes with AI. That being said, AI is definitely going to make a lot of things easier if you know how to use it as an assistant, right? Like I use AI as an assistant. So for example, I'm on a pen test and I need to automate my recon, right? So what that means is during my pen test process, there's a phase called reconnaissance and enumeration. And this is where I'm gathering information on my target, right? So I'm gathering the ports that are open, the applications that are in scope, anything that looks like it could be a vulnerability, right? And now I have a set list of tools that I'm going to use for that. I can create a script to automate most of that, right? So it will run the Nmap scans, take the results of the Nmap scan, parse it out, crop it, grep it, whatever you want to call it, into another thing, and then take that information and go into another scan, and then take that information and go into another scan, and then by the time it's all said and done, I'm left with maybe like 2 or 3 pages of actionable items that I can take for my exploitation phase. Now, in years past, you would have to type all of that stuff out. It would probably take you about a couple hours just to type it out. Then you got to tweak it and troubleshoot and make sure that everything works how you wanted it to work. Now with AI, I can go into Chat GPT, or I can build my own LLM and say, these are the tools I want to run. This is what I want it to do. From this, I want it to do this. From this, I want it to do this. From this, I want it to do this. Go. And the AI is going to push something out to me in probably a minute or two. And then from there, because AI is not perfect, AI is not infallible. So because AI is not perfect, now I can look through it and go, that's right, that's right, that's right. Ooh, I need to tweak that a little bit. That's right, that's right. That's completely wrong. That's right. Right. And then I can tweak it and troubleshoot it. So now something that took me 2-3 hours to do now only takes me 45 minutes to an hour. Right. What if you're someone who works in governance, risk, and compliance, and you need to go through you need to create a policy. You can sit there and type it all out, or you can feed your sources into something like Claude, right? So Claude's AI model, and say, I need to create a policy based on this, based on NIST, based on the OWASP top 10, based on PCI, based on HIPAA, based on that. I need you to create a policy. Here's the points I need to hit. Here's the audience I'm trying to reach. Go. Claude's going to take a little bit longer because Claude works well with documentation. And now you have pages upon pages of information that you can now take, edit, tweak, delete, whatever you need to do. But it's a lot faster than you having to find all the sources, type all of it, and then go through everything. So using it as an assistant is going to help, is going to make your stuff way more efficient. And I feel sorry for those who aren't doing that, right? You're gonna have to do it. I just had a contract that I was working with another company, and that's how they're writing some of they're starting to use AI to write some of their articles now, and now having experts basically work on the editing team to make sure that it's accurate. So everybody's going to start using it. So it's going to be a situation like the cloud. If you don't use it, you're going to get left behind. Right? Everybody figured, oh my gosh, the cloud is coming. We don't understand it, and it's going to take everybody's jobs. And what ended up happening was some people looked at that and said, okay, well, let me learn it. And they started learning about Microsoft Azure. They started learning about AWS. They started learning about Google Cloud. And now they're getting paid the big bucks because they put themselves in a position to be that go-to resource, that expert. Same thing with like what I did with API security when around 2018, 2019, not too many people were talking about API security. People started doing their research about it. And like I said, I could probably count on 1 or 2 hands how many people were actually like in the trenches doing API stuff. And then when API security blew up, now everybody's being asked to do courses or teach classes or do talks and stuff like that. And now, and then on top of it, you're getting contract opportunities. Companies are reaching out. Hey, I saw your talk. I saw your LinkedIn course. I saw your talk here. Shout out to Corey Ball. He wrote a whole book, and now has his own, basically his own company off of a book that he did because he got asked to do an API test, didn't understand it, did the research, and then took all the information, and documented it. So that's the same thing that's going to happen that's happening now with AI. So, hey, but no, so you're on the right path, Brandon, with the digital forensics too. Like AI is going to touch every facet of cybersecurity. And and the funny thing is, you talk about digital forensics is like my favorite of all of them. I like digital forensics probably more than I like ethical hacking. Actually, my original career path was I wanted to work up to be a sysadmin because I felt like once I understood how to be a sysadmin, I would know how to I would know how to fuzz it and pen test it. And then I wanted to get into forensics because I figured to be a better forensics person, I had to be a good hacker because I would have to put myself in the mind of a pen tester. So that was my process. So then when I got certified in digital forensics, I went back to, I was living up north at the time. I was living in Connecticut. And in Connecticut, there weren't too many pathways for digital forensics. You either had to work in law enforcement or like the government. So you had to work like in FBI or whatever. So I wasn't going to the academy to be a cop. I wasn't going into the FBI. Not that I didn't think it would have been cool, but the FBI was paying a lot less than what I was making at the time. And then also I also didn't want to have my days of going and training and doing all of that stuff were past me. But let's talk about AI with forensics, right? You can ask the AI model based on the data that you give it, what are the possible outcomes and where you could possibly look without revealing any PII or source code information, right? Because that's the other thing. Do not use public API or public AI models for your like your intellectual property or source code. That's why people are building their own internal stuff and using it internally. But that being said, digital forensics, man. The digital forensic certification I got, I had to do a written test, and then after the written test, they gave us a mock investigation. That's the camera with the AI because I just gave it a hand signal. But what I ended up for the digital forensic certification I ended up having to do a mock investigation. So after I passed the written test, they give you a clone. They give you a drive, and on the drive was a clone of someone's hard drive. And the story was, this person was arrested and accused of stealing credit card information and then trying to sell the credit card information on IRC channels. Now, for those who might be younger than me and don't understand, IRC channels are basically like internet chat rooms back in the day. Like, so think of Reddit, so it's almost, but worse. So the the scenario was you had to prove that this person, you had to investigate when he was arrested. Um, they were able to retrieve his computer and clone his hard drive. So now you had to go through the whole process of an investigation. So you had to take that hard drive and clone it, because you remember you cannot do any work on the source. You have to clone it and make sure that it's a one-to-one clone, that the hashes match and all of that. You had to follow chain of custody. So you had every day you did something, you had to sign it out like you were signing out evidence, and then sign it back in. Yeah, they were kind of like forums. But yeah, so you had to do the whole investigation. You had to respect the chain of custody. You had to, write out the tags and everything. And then you went through the process of using the different tools and essentially reverse engineering everything that happened. And I found that to be so much fun, because now, like I said, it's putting you in the mindset of the person you're investigating. Yep. You're putting yourself, so it was like, so now you were able to retrieve that information. You were able to see, okay, yep, they stole the credit card information using a phishing attack. And then from there, they took the credit card information and met somebody in an IRC channel, and then set up a private communication with them to sell them the stolen credit card data. And then after that, you had to write out your report. You had to write out your report that you would use in court. So we did everything but go testify in court. But in the report, we had to say, in our expert opinion, because remember that you can't say anything definitive, because you do have to leave that the possibility that things aren't 100%. So it was like, you write all that and say, oh, in my expert opinion, based on the information, in my expert opinion, I think that the culprit did X, Y, and Z. And then and then they read it, that they would have to read it over, they would have to copy your steps and do all of that, and then that's how you got the certification. So anyway, I did all of that, and I was like, yes, I want to do digital forensics. That's what I want to do. And then when they said, hey, you can't do it without being a cop or being an FBI, because at the time, not too many people were working in startups like that either. So that sucked. And then, yeah, I just kind of stuck with being a pen tester. And I'm gonna be honest, actually, I feel like that learning the forensics made me a better pen tester, because now I knew if someone were to try to track what I was doing as a pen tester, it was like mental chess, right? So now, as a forensics person, I know what files I'm looking for. I know what logs I'm going to go look for. I know what to see if things were done, right? Because I know from the hacker side what they're touching. So as a digital forensics person, I'm checking that space. But then as the pen tester, I know that the forensics person will probably also look at these logs, look at the try to retrieve anything that was deleted, because just like I'm sure anything you delete off your computer is never really deleted forever. They're checking all of that history. So now as a pen tester, I'm going, well, how do I avoid a forensics person finding me? And then as a forensics person, okay, what is the hacker? Where's the hacker going to go? Where's any information the hacker going to look at, right? As a hacker, I know, well, if I want to make sure that the forensic person is not going to find me, I need to make sure I put everything in a temporary folder. Reason why you put it in a temporary folder is because the moment you turn off that computer, or the moment that computer reboots, everything that's stored in a cache or stored in RAM gets deleted, and there is no getting that back. So you put it in a temp folder versus putting it in a folder on the hard drive, right? But on the forensic side, there are some things that can't be changed, right? Or if they were changed, then that's basically telling you without telling you. So I know as a forensics person, I'm checking the logs, right? Because if the hacker did something, it would be logged. If the hacker covered their tracks and deleted the logs, then we know for certain something's gone, something's wrong because there's nothing in the log folder. Or if the hacker says, I can't delete all the stuff because then they're going to know definitely someone was there, and they just delete their actions. Now you're looking at the gaps. Okay, well, it says there was a minute by minute breakdown of every single log, and then all of a sudden there's like an hour missing. Again, now so is that back and forth. So in that situation, what would I do? I'd install really bad malware on the computer, right? And then when you put the malware on the computer, their IT staff, the first thing that they're going to do is take it off the network, wipe it, and restore it. That's protocol. So now they basically just got rid of they got rid of all of that. See what I'm saying? So what I honestly you have to yeah, man. Like that's what I love about cybersecurity. Like what I started getting bored in IT, right? Like I was at the height of my IT career, I was able to troubleshoot without even being in front of the computer. Right? Like my father-in-law would laugh and joke about it because like me and my father-in-law would go to like the casino and my phone would ring because I redirected all the phone calls to my cell phone. And I would get a call and they'd be like, "Hey, Davin, this, and this," and I would back away from the I would back away from the blackjack table, and I would close my eyes and I would go, "Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna click this, you're gonna go over here. Do you see this in the corner? Click that. You're gonna see on the third option down." I had like a visual memory of it. So it got to the point where honestly, like it got boring and I wanted to make more money. And the thing with cybersecurity, especially ethical pen testing and digital forensics, is always a challenge. There's always a new technique, a new exploit, a new vulnerability. There's always another criminal who thinks they're clever and trying to circumvent it. And it's like that. The chase is what kept me going. And then when I got to the point in my career where it was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't necessarily want to do it forever. And I definitely don't want to, I didn't care to be in upper management, right? Like I'll be a supervisor, I'll be a team lead, but I still wanted to kind of be as close to the people as possible because I felt like that's where I could do the most work. I could be the most help. But then at some point, I started looking at cybersecurity. I'm like, man, I got in this to help people. And when I got into cybersecurity, it was because the school system that I was working at, their security was horrible. And I was in charge of the elementary schools and I was also in charge of the special education department. And these teachers and these kids were getting exploited left and right because of their disabilities. So it was like I wanted to protect them. So that's why I really got into it at first. And then it was like, okay, cool. Then I was like, oh damn, man, you can make really good money. Damn, okay, sign me up. And then when I got to the point where I wanted to start trying to help people get more into it, it felt like the channels that I was trying to go through, as far as being a teacher at one of these training companies or whatever, it was like they were making you jump through hoops to do it. So it was just like, all right, fine. I tell people all the time, sometimes you have to stop asking to sit at others' tables just to get their scraps. Build your own. So that's what I did. I started with a blog, and then from the blog, I started a podcast or a live stream podcast called InfoSec Unplugged. I did that for about 2 years. I'll probably bring that back in the fall, hopefully, knock on wood. But I did that, and then I started building out my own courses. Oh, it's buffering. I don't know why it's doing that now. But yeah, man, I started building out my own courses, and then that's how I got found on LinkedIn. And then when I started I did the courses on LinkedIn, and I learned how to structure it, how to structure the course, how to keep it, concise. And now I took all of that with me to say, okay, now how do I get these kids into it, right? Because college is way too damn expensive. Like I tell my kids now, it's like, yeah, if you want to go to college, that's cool, but make sure you're going to college for something that you need to go to college for, right? So you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, okay, fine, yeah, you got to go to college for that. But you're not about to go to college and just for something that you can learn on the outside. And like I said, college is ridiculous now. The cost of college a year is ridiculous. And if you have the means to do it, then God bless you and go forth and conquer. But there are a lot of people who grew up without or don't have the means. And what's left for them, right? What options do they have? So that's where the idea of, well, these kids have more technology at their fingertips than we did growing up, right? Like I remember having to go to the library to get on the internet. Again, showing my age. I don't know if Trey is still here, but yeah, I remember having to literally go to the live. When we found out about the Dragon Ball Z game for the Sega Saturn, we stopped at the library to see if it actually existed, and that's how we did that. But you got these kids who are super talented, and they just think they're doing it to play the game, or they think they're just doing it to serve whatever purpose they're doing, right? Like you got kids now, you got young kids now who can troubleshoot a system that people pay, like level 2, level 3 help desk for. You see, you know what I'm saying? And they don't know they have it. Like a kid came in here the other day and he was like, I just don't know. I don't think I know anything about tech. I said, oh, you don't? I said, you play video games at home? He said, yes, sir. I'm like, okay. If you go turn on your computer or your Xbox or your PlayStation or whatever you have, and you go on your computer and it powers on, everything's there, but then you go to get on the game and it doesn't go on. What's the first thing you're going to do? Oh, I'm going to check to see if the internet's working. How are you going to check that? Well, if I'm on my computer, I'm going to try to ping a website. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do that. Okay. And if that, and then you ping the website and it doesn't work, then what? Oh, well, then that tells me that something's wrong with the internet. So I'm going to go check my router, or I'm going to check my Wi-Fi. Okay. And then you check that doesn't work. Then what? Right. And we went through the whole process of troubleshooting how to get their internet back up and running, or if they can't get it back up and running, how to escalate it to the next level, which would be calling your service provider. And I looked at the kid's dad and was like, that's level 1 help desk, even some level 2 help desk stuff right there. He can get a job right now that would pay him 40, 50K a year. Now, again, not life-changing money, but it's something to start with, right? So now what if you build on that? You already, right? What if you took that and then got your Network Plus certification, and then from your Network Plus certification, you got your CCNA, and then from your CCNA, you went and grabbed a couple cloud certifications. Now what kind of money are we talking? And we're talking about what, maybe a year and a half of training if you take your time to fully understand and process. So in less than 2 years, you'll probably get yourself to a decent salary. I don't say six figures because I like to um under underestimate and over deliver, right? But like I said, in 2 years, if you play your cards right, you'll get yourself a solid salary. And now you have a networking foundation and you did cloud. Boom. You're now, let's say you do that for a little bit and now you decide after a while, I can take that and flip it and go do my own side hustle. How many people in my neighborhood, how many people need, how many small businesses, how many churches, how many whatever, right? And you ain't got to charge them. You're not going to hit them over the head and charge them thousands of dollars. I mean, if it's a big company, then no, you get your bag. But now you can go into business for yourself. And it started with the fact that your Xbox or your computer couldn't get on the internet. See what I'm saying? So it's like I'm simplifying it a little bit, but like I said, you take your if you take that, give yourself, let's say, 2 years to learn your craft, then you get into the career, then you get into a career field, you get into the day by day, and now you're learning, right? You're in the trenches, you're learning the networking, you're learning the cloud, you're learning all of that. Now you can take that and apply it to people who may not fully understand it. Or you can do what I did. Take it, okay, cool. How can I break this down so that people understand it? All right, I'm going to write a blog and I'm going to keep it simple where I'm not intimidating people, right? Like Braylon, we've been chopping it up now for over an hour. Not once not once did I say anything in a way that try to make it sound like it was crazy, right? Why I try to make it relatable so that people can understand it. Because why would I try to make it sound crazy or make it sound a lot harder than what it is to discourage somebody? Be like, see, damn, I knew I wasn't going to catch it. What purpose does that serve? And I feel like people have been doing that for a really long time. So, like I said, that's where the idea of doing this, and then on top of it, no one, like, COVID, social media, and society, like no one socializes in person anymore. Like I grew up going to the arcades. I grew up going to the arcades every weekend, hanging out with my friends and getting into tournaments, meeting new people, right? No one's doing that. And like I said, you got all these kids playing online. For one, as parents, you don't know what these kids, who they're playing with, right? And I remember I was talking at a conference, and these parents came up to me and they were like, "Why would we pay for them to come play at your center when they can just play online at home?" And I said, "Okay, well, are you playing with them online at home?" "No." "Do you know who they're playing with online at home?" "Yeah, they're playing with their friends." "Have you met these friends?" "Not all of them." "Okay, so how do you know that that person that they're playing with is who they say they are?" And then they paused. And I said, they were like, "Well, we don't have to worry about that because we don't let them play. We don't let them play games like Call of Duty and Fortnite and those games." I said, "Well, what do you let them play?" They said, "Roblox." I bust out laughing. And they're like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "Roblox is probably the worst game you could have them play unattended. Do you know the games and things that they have in Roblox, and the predators that be on Roblox pretending to be little kids?" Same thing with Minecraft, right? I'm gonna turn off the voice chat. Okay, do you know people are using the stuff in game to write out email addresses or write out messages and telling these kids to send them pictures to this and call this number? Heck, there was a video I saw a couple months ago where a kid was talking to somebody on Roblox thinking it was a friend of his that he made on the game, telling the guy, confiding in him, thinking that this is a friend, talking about, "Yeah, my mom and my dad split up and my mom's been really lonely and I wish you know, I hope she would find somebody if she's not going to get back with my dad. He thought he was talking to a kid. He was talking to a grown ass man. This man drove across state lines to come try to meet the boy's mother. Right? I caught my talking to a scammer on Roblox. Man, look, seriously, man. One of my mentees, he actually became my mentee because of Roblox, right? He called me one day and was like, "Oh, I saw one of your videos and you said that you were a hacker before." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, can you help me get my account back?" I'm like, "Well, what, I don't know. What happened?" Well, he was playing with somebody online. This dude claimed to be like this big time Roblox person. Told him, gave him a link. No, gave him his YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, it was like, "Hey, if you want to join my private Discord, click this link." So the kid goes, clicks the link on the YouTube, on the dude's YouTube channel, and it redirected him to a website that asked him for his Roblox credentials. Now it looked like the Roblox website if you just looked at the website, but if you looked at the URL, it was like www.robloxcom.something whatever, right? But if you just kind of look up and you're not paying attention, it looked like the Roblox website. So anyway, kid signs in with his credentials, goes into something that looks like a chat, but no one's in there, no one's saying anything, no one's doing anything, no whatever. And a couple minutes later, his password was changed and he was locked out of his Roblox account. He lost all the Robux or the money that he had in it. So he's like, "Can I get my account back?" I'm like, "Dude, there's nothing I can do to help you at this point. Like, that person got you." I'm like, "The only thing you can do is contact Roblox support and see if they'll if they're able to get you that get it back for you." But by that time, a few hours had passed. So I'm like, even if they do, dude probably already spent the money. Yeah, man, you got, like I said, but the domain name is going to tell it. But if you're not trained to catch that, right? So that's how I ended up teaching him, because I'm like, dude, you got to be careful. First of all, you got to be careful with who you communicating with and whatever. Second of all, just because he told you to go click this link, don't mean you click the link. And then when you did click the link, you need to pay attention to where, because it was like a Bitly URL, so it wasn't even like the real URL. It was a Bitly link that he clicked, and then when it redirected him, it went to that. So, these are things that you gotta be careful. You gotta be mindful of. Like, people are running scams and stealing thousands of dollars, and people are running scams to steal or hack the person, and then contacting the person pretending to be support or help desk, pretending to help the person to scam them on the other side. So now you got scammed out your money because you clicked the link. The person knows you got because they're the ones who got you, and then contact you again, pretending to be the support of the system, saying, "Hey, our system our system indicates that you may have been the victim of a cyber attack. We can help you. Contact us." And now you contact them, and they're going, "Okay, we'll help you, but in order to help you, you got to pay us $200." And now they're going, "Okay, can you pay it? Cool. Give me your card number over the phone, or go to CVS or Walmart or whatever and buy a gift card. Buy this specific gift card, and then take a picture of the gift card and send me the number of the gift card." And people are falling for it. So again, these are things that we're doing, man. We're teaching the kids how to use the skills that they already have to maximize their potential. We're teaching them how to be we call that risk mitigation. But we're teaching them, and now we're having these classes, right? Like I'm actually working on a presentation about the top five dangerous games, and it's not the top five that you think, right? Yeah, you talk about violence. Unfortunately, they can see if you got these kids on TikTok, they're seeing that stuff anyway. So we're not even just talking about the violence in the game. We're talking about the toxic nature of the games. And the top five games aren't what you think, right? The top five games, like I said, no, everybody's going to be surprised when they see that I have Roblox at number one, right? Or I have Call of Duty at number five, right? So right now, the top five games for for young kids is based on the user experience. For me, it goes Call of Duty, Valorant, Minecraft. Damn, what was number two? No, I think Fortnite's number three. Minecraft is number two. No, Fortnite's number two because of the V Buck scamming, and then Roblox is number one. And then we go into the risks of that are involved in each of those, why I gave it that, but then we also give you actionable items on how to do that, and then include that into our programs. We have programs for senior citizens. I go to community centers and basically sit there a couple hours whenever I can, and I'm basically like there on retainer. So they come in there and they ask me questions on how to get their phone to work, how to get on Zoom, or how to get on Google Meet or whatever, so that they can talk to their grandkids online, or they're worried about them being scammed. So we go through that. So again, we're all in the service of trying to help and educate people and make them better. And like I said, if they're able to do something with it and maximize their potential, then that's what you got to do, man. Hey, look, like you said it before, man. You got to diversify, right? If we just focused on real talk, if we just focused on gaming and esports, I probably would have closed down within the first 6 months. Real talk, right? But then again, that's also not the reason why. That's also the reason why I didn't get into it just for the gaming. I call it using gaming as the cheat code. So it's like getting them in with their love of gaming and their love of esports, but then literally showing them the parallels, showing the parents actionable items to say, just like any other sport, just like football, basketball, baseball, any stick and ball sport. What are the things that they can learn? They can learn communication, teamwork, critical thinking, problem solving, leadership. You can do the same thing in organized esports or organized gaming. And I proved it. I took a group of kids who don't know each other and played solo, and worked with them for a few months, and won a national league, national esports league for middle school Fortnite. And they were supposed to play as a team of four. One of the kids quit mid-season, and we won it with just three. So and I got the parents. It's not me saying it. I got the parents to say it in the testimonials. And like I said, so we're going to show all of that this weekend. But yeah, man, like I said, it goes deep. Like basically, the deeper down the rabbit hole you go, the more we expose, right? Because again, you don't want to give everybody everything day one, and then they get overwhelmed, right? So it's like just like a video game, you give them more gradually. They start off on easy or very easy, and then from there they go to normal difficulty, and then they go to hard and difficult and legendary, and we just go down the process, man. But I'm gonna go ahead because it's almost time to close up shop. I gotta go make a run to the store before I go home. But yeah, man, 3 verse 4, and like I said, we did it. I was just the coach, like I said, and full disclosure, I'm not hands on with all the games, but I know strategy. right? But I learned that, but I took my approach of how I approach pen testing or forensics or anything cybersecurity, and applied it to that as well. I mean, look, if you do I actually, one of my presentations I gave on YouTube, actually there's two, and I mean, not to not to promote, but like, hold on. So I'm gonna put two links in the chat, right? So there's that one, and it's actually backwards. I should have put the other one first. Let's go here. Let's go here. Uh, here we go. So basically, both of these talks, you'll see, I actually explain the phases of a penetration test using Fortnite as the example. Um, we're backwards. So starting with the second link, the second YouTube link, I actually gave this talk like a month before COVID. And the reason why that is important is because I came up with the talk because my son was in an esports program, and they had a coaching, they had a Fortnite coach come talk to them, and something that he said resonated with me, that I was like, oh crap, that's the same thing I do during a pen test. And I did the present. I wrote the presentation right there on the spot. Um, then I went and did the slides. And if you actually look at some of the stuff I have, if you're looking at it, some of the pictures from that I use in Fortnite is actually from the kids' gameplay. So that I did that one in 2019. Hey, what's going on, Millie? But yeah, I did that talk in no, I did that talk 2020. And the reason, it's going good, man. It's going good. I can't complain. How's your day? How's your week going? But yeah, I gave that talk literally weeks after my son's Fortnite practice. And I gave the talk at an online conference. And after I did that, I shared the link out on social media, and it blew up. So that's when I knew that I had something with the transferable skills and showing the parallels and stuff like that. And I gave the talk a few more times, but actually no, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. After it blew up, when I posted it on socials after the conference, I went back to my son's esports program and I said, "Hey, I would like to try this concept of trying to teach tech and cybersecurity concepts and during your gaming stuff, and we can add that to the STEM side of things." And he was like, "Okay, cool, let's do it next week." And literally the week I was supposed to do it was the week everything shut down for COVID. Um, so I've been sitting on this for about 5 years now. And then last year, I was doing some consulting work for another company that actually does cybersecurity esports. So they're doing attack and defend competition. So you have one team doing, actually, so it's a team of attackers and defenders on the same team. Half the team is working to defend their server and protect and patch their server, while the other half of the team is trying to hack their opponent's server, and you get points back and forth. So I was a consultant for that. And we were asked to speak at the NIST NICE conference. So NIST, the National Institute of Security of Science, National Institute of Security stand. Oh, geez, what is it? I always forget. The National Institute of Standards and Technology. So NIST and then NICE, which is the National Institute of Cybersecurity Education. So I was asked to speak at their conference, and I gave we split the talk up into three different parts, and I put my part up there. So actually, Braylon, if you look at my here, I'll put it up on LinkedIn. But oh, okay. So yeah, man, that's how we but it went from, but again, just to show, it went from an online security conference in 2020 to speaking in front of educators and government officials and 4 years later. So again, my thought process is, if the education system and the government are paying attention to this, where they flew me to Dallas to give this presentation, then we should be paying attention to it too. So that's how I'm gonna close it. I think that sounded kind of epic. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Braylon, I appreciate you rocking with me. Trey, thanks for letting me know that I'm old. But I appreciate it. Claire, always, it's awesome that you joined the stream. And Millie, thank you for joining. Even though, like I said, we're not looking to get any artwork right now. And shout out to everybody else who's just watching in silence. I hope this helped. I hope that it will motivate you to ask a question on the next stream. Who knows? Let's do this tomorrow. I got some time tomorrow. I got some stuff I got to do tomorrow too. So let's link back up tomorrow, and we'll go from there. And if not tomorrow, then I'll definitely see y'all Saturday at the open house. We'll probably stream some of the open house as well. But yeah, let's like I said, I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed the talk today. Like I said, I didn't think we were gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I'm glad we did, man. So, things happen for a reason. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna log off. I'm gonna shut these PCs down and get up out of here, so I can try to get home a couple minutes early, so I can spend some time with my family before I take my behind the bed and have to get up super early in the morning for work. But all right, y'all. So yes, I will talk to y'all later. Be safe and have a good night.